Hi, I'm Molly Horak from the Susan Horak Group with Remax Boone Realty, and this is a little bit about our marketing. In lieu of actually getting to sit down with you and go through our whole marketing plan, I wanted to at least give you a nice video so that you could understand what it is we do and how we're going to get your property sold. So you should have already seen our basic marketing plan video. It's great. It gives you a good overview. This is where I get a lot more meat and potatoes on it, really gritty, and go through everything really specifically, just like I would if you were right there in front of me across your kitchen table and we were in the home. So I hope you've seen this video. If you haven't, I'll include it in the email. All right. So first off, you have to start with the basics. So we always include a full color, two-sided brochure with every property. And we actually do two different versions. We do one that's a small booklet form. It's either a two-page or a trifold brochure, but we specifically make them small. We call them our mini brochures. We like them because they're very portable. They're attached to the MLS sheet, so you've still got all the data that you would normally have, but they're small enough that you can shove them in your purse or in a coat pocket. We find that buyers really like this size because they're very easy to make it out of the house. On the other hand, the agents that are showing the property really like full-size brochures because they're very easy to slip into their showing folder to give to the buyer at the end of the tour. The problem with that is not every buyer's agent actually remembers at the last house to give that folder to their client. So we want to be able to give them multiple ways of getting the brochure so that it actually does make it out of the house and into the buyer's hands. So the reason that's so important that they actually make it out with the brochure, people, when they're looking at homes, are sometimes looking at 10, 15, 20 houses in a day, especially if they're coming in from out of town or out of state. So having the brochure at the end helps us deal with the Frankenstein house problem, where the buyer has in their mind, oh, I really liked house number 7. Well, house number 7 in their mind over the course of the day now has the living room from house 1, the dining room from house 6, the kitchen from house 4, and they've misremembered it into this new Frankenstein house. So the brochures help correct that by having lots of photos and, of course, the floor plan. So in the brochure, the floor plan is very small, but it gives them enough that they can jog their memory and remember what the house actually looks like. The brochures also have all the information that they would normally have. So it's going to have the street address, a QR code so that they can get on the website really quickly, photos of the house, directions so they can come back and do a drive-by, the floor plan, a little bit of ad copy, lots of photos. And then they're attached to the MLS sheet. So that has all the information that they would need to be able to write a contract on it. And answer some of the tire kicking questions when they get home. Well, how big was the kitchen? What were the dimensions of that? When was the house built? All those kind of things. So brochures, yes, they've been around forever, but they are still vital. Next, you probably have some questions about who Susan and I are. So I myself am a third generation realtor on both sides. My mother and I work as a team, along with three other agents in our office now. Jan has been with us for, I think she's about 26 years into this now. I've been licensed since 2012. I think that was the year after my marriage. And then I got my broker's license in 2018. Susan's been here forever. She's been the number one agent, and our team has been the number one team in town for 20 out of the last 30 years, 25 years, something like that. But she's been number one again and again and again for a reason. And we think a lot of that comes down to marketing. Susan and I both come from very strong marketing backgrounds and very diverse marketing backgrounds from each other. So I come from an arts and graphic design and design background. I actually got my 2 undergraduate degrees from an art school. My mother, on the other hand, when she was in college, she was studying political science, and she worked on several political campaigns. So coming at it from 2 wildly different directions, we both very, very strongly believe in the power of marketing to get your property sold. So what does that mean? We talked a little bit about brochures. That's the super bare bones basic form of print media. The other thing we add to that is the real estate book. The real estate book, in addition to their print media that you're probably familiar with, it's in just about every grocery store and bank and out in front of any large commercial operation, it seems like. It's a full-size magazine, glossy, full-color circulator that is completely free to the public. That's because we pay a lot of money to be in it. And we actually pay extra money to be in the first 2 pages. So while you're listed with us, your home, your property, whatever, it's going to be in the first 2 pages, and we don't rotate you out until you are fully under contract. The real estate book comes out every 2 weeks. People think it really comes out once a month, but they change the cover every 2 weeks. So when it arrives at the store, they have, okay, here's the 30 versions that you put out on the 1st of the month, and here's the 30 copies that you put out on the 15th of the month. That helps because people think, oh, it's a new updated version. They pick up another one. People, even if they're picking them up on a regular basis, they have a very short-term memory, and they get very distracted very easily. So statistically, people don't make it much past the middle of the book. So it's important to be in that first section, and very important to be the very first impression they get. So that's why we pay for premium placement. So I said their web presence was great. It really is. In addition to that, we pay to have your property syndicated out to at least 20 major websites, and then those websites then sell that information and send it out to hundreds. So that's a really great thing. Susan has this anecdote that she tells at listing appointments. It's gotten kind of old now. I've been hearing it for years. But one time, and it's a good story because it's so weird. One time she sold a property to someone off of the Mariners retirement website. And if you know Columbia, you know we're incredibly landlocked. We're in the center of the country, pretty far away from any Mariners. So how did that information get there? Well, it was the site that managed this fellow's retirement fund, and they paid to have some extra content. And one of the things they had was an article about the top 5 towns to retire to in the country. And in that article, they had real estate ads because that article's provider paid for extra content. So they had the real estate ad for the property he ended up buying. So the whole point of the story is we don't care where your listing shows up. We want it showing up everywhere because you never know how someone's going to stumble upon it. So that's a little bit about where we push you out to. Now, we do control the message a bit on our actual websites. So we maintain 2 websites that are our primary real estate websites, SusanHorak.com and Mollyhorackcom. They serve wildly different purposes. And I'm going to start off talking about SusanHorak.com, which we not only maintain, but we build in-house because we need that level of control. We have a ridiculous amount of data and customized forms in there. And it's all handled in-house by our degreed, full-time, on-staff, just works for us graphic designer. And whatever intern he has at the moment. So it's a very special website to us. It's I think She's had it for decades now, and it's gone through lots of different iterations, but it's great. It's our data dump site. It's the give the buyer absolutely everything they could possibly want in one place site. It's the place we send people when they're on Zillow or Realtor or Trulia or wherever, and they click for more information. Once they get to our website, we want to make sure we actually give them more information about the house. So, oh, I went backwards there. So when you get to the actual property page, it has the photo of the home and then all the photos of the home. So you can click and it gets large and you can scroll through just like you would on Zillow. And we try to make sure we have lots of photos. So even a fairly small home will still have 40 photos. A large home may have 100. We want to make sure that the basic information that they're looking for right up top is right there, an interactive Google map so that they can figure out where they are and get directions to the home. If you scroll down, then you get a little bit of ad copy about the house, the floor plan, the documents, how to apply for a loan. Try to make it a one-stop shop. So the documents. Most websites do not have any more information than what the MLS data feed sends over, and most of them aren't sophisticated enough to actually get the PDFs that the realtors have access to through the MLS. On our site, you get all of that information. So you have the assessor's page, the aerial photo of the property, the plat maps, schools, the seller's disclosure, occupancy disclosure, information on each of the schools individually, the closest parks to the property, whatever. We want to give them as much information as possible. One of probably the two most important things that we have on there are the utility summary and the seller's disclosure. So the questions that most buyers have first are going to be answered by those two documents, because the utilities are the second most expensive line item in most people's personal budgets, the first being the mortgage. And then the seller's disclosure is going to answer a lot of those tire kicking questions. Well, how old's the roof? How old's the furnace? You know, how much insulation do you have in the attic? Those kind of things. Then we have the actual brochure for the property on here, and it's an issue brochure, and these are actually quite nice. So I'm going to pull a brochure over onto the screen here. Let me pull this over. So if you're on our website and you click for the full brochure, you can click through and you see it's a very pleasant magazine style brochure, and that allows you to download it and print it off and all that good stuff. We also have the videos for the property right there on the website. This is really good because Columbia and the greater central Missouri market, we have a lot of trailing spouses. So we have a lot of large companies, including the university and the hospitals and all of that, where they'll pay for the spouse that they're actually considering hiring to come out and do a house hunting trip. Well, the husband or the wife that's back in Pennsylvania or wherever they're coming from doesn't get to go. So we're finding going through the tours with their spouse on video, or their spouses at home looking at the websites, and interacting that way virtually while we're showing them property. So it is important to have the videos on there. All right, and back to our little slideshow here. All right, then we have all the data. So all the same stuff that you have in the MLS. You know, a lot of the third-party sites like Zillow and Realtor and Trulia, they have to pull their data feed based on the lowest common denominator. So whatever the rinky-dinkiest MLS system that's out there, whatever data they're able to get from that, that's pretty much as much information as they can aggregate from the most advanced system. So they're not necessarily getting everything on our site because we're only dealing with, you know, the central Missouri MLS systems. we're giving you as much information as the realtors actually have access to. Then, just to give you more, we have something called interactive floor plans. So when someone's on the website and they're looking at the floor plan, a lot of people are not particularly spatially minded. So when you're just looking through the photos and you're looking at the still image of the floor plan, it's kind of hard to figure out, well, is this here or is that over there? What bedroom is this a photo of? So on these, you can click on the little arrow, and it's basically saying, if you're standing here and you're looking this direction, click here, it opens up a photo. This is what you'd see. And you can do that all the way around the house, and you can do that from the exteriors, and it gives you a better visual, spatial understanding of the home. We also really like these because we can track who's on the website and who's looking at it. And by the time someone's this deep into a property, they're pretty interested. They've been engaging with the house for several minutes. That person probably needs to get a real showing, and we need to sell them the house. All right. So next we have Mollyhorack.com. So Mollyhorack.com is wildly different. It has a completely different purpose. It is all buyer analytics. So the whole point on Mollyhorack.com is for people that we've already engaged with. Occasionally we get people, that don't know us from Adam and they're just on our website, and that's great. Now we have their contact information. We can follow them around and try to sell them something. Mollyhorack.com is really good for tracking our buyers through the process and understanding, okay, they've looked at your house once. I have an alert. They've looked at your house twice. I have another alert. 5 days later, they look at your house again. I've got another alert. That person needs to have a showing. That person needs to go see your next open house. I'm going to communicate with them right now. So that's why we like that website. It doesn't have all the data dump information, but it solves the second step of the process. So once they're on mollyhorack.com and we're able to track everything that they see, we're able to send them more listings. They can set up appointments to go see the property right there. It's more of a tool for us than information for the buyer. Yes, they'll get information, but it's more for us to be able to track your potential buyers and make sure that they're actually getting the opportunity to go see the house now that they're engaging with it at that level. And this little video here is just, okay, so there's a background video on the website, so you could watch it. It's a cute little video about Susan and I and, the team and what we do. Oh, well, I guess I'm playing it. So let's watch the little video a little bit.
We have a great team here, a very good office staff. We are just 3 agents, but at the same time, we have a fabulous support system. Columbia is a unique town, and to have over 30 years of experience for myself and over 10 for you now, Jan's been with me, and she's our third licensed agent for over 22 years now. You just bring a lot to the table that maybe sometimes you wouldn't get from another real estate agent. I think it comes down to a combination of experience and innovation.
Every listing she offers has a full floor plan of the house. I think that's something that not many people offer, but it's great for clients to be able to.
And there's that interactive floor plan in use.
No, that's absolutely not going to work for me.
I highly recommend seasonal actors. Every single person in that office is trustworthy, and I wouldn't go with anyone else.
This is a wonderful client of ours. She's bought several properties from us.
Multi-generation relationships with our clients and their families and their mothers and fathers, because I think that people trust us.
All right, so that's enough about us. Let's talk more about our marketing. All right, so mollyhorack.com, that's the little video that plays in the background. It's set up like a Google page. Here's a big search bar. Find what you want. You've got all the listings of the whole MLS on there, so we can see not only when they're interacting with our properties, but any property. That's important because we can see, oh, they've looked at this house, which has 4 things that are similar to yours. And they've looked at this house, which have 5 things that are similar to yours. And this one, and this one, and this one. Why aren't they looking at your house? Let's go get them into your house. So that's kind of helpful on that side. So this is how they sign in. Very easy. All they have to do is sign in with their Google account or their Facebook account. They can sign in with an email. Most people just do it through Facebook or Google because it's so much faster. Once they actually get there, they have lots of information about the home, lots of big photos, and they can set an appointment right there. So we love that. Then this is what it looks like on our end. We can see, okay, these are all the houses that they've been looking at and that they've favorited and all of that stuff. So social media. You've probably noticed that we're kind of big into video. So where do people watch all these videos? Usually on social. So we are very, very, very video centric, very heavily into YouTube and Facebook, primarily because those are the better social media websites, platforms that people are actually interacting with housing on. A little bit on Instagram, a little bit on Pinterest. I mean, we do them, but that's not where people are actively thinking about buying a house. And it's weird that they're thinking about it on Facebook, but they do. And they look at a lot of these things on Facebook. So some of the things that we do, we try to put out as much good, relevant content as possible. Like this little video here is, and I'll turn the volume down while it kind of plays. This is just market stats that were put out through Remax about the month of December. And okay, well, where's the market at right now versus a little video like this that kind of, gives buyers some information on the process of buying a house. And then we mix that in because you want to be super heavy on the helpful information and the teaching aspect of it. And then you want to fold in the listings because we find that, and not just us, statistics find that if you're looking at all just ads for houses, no one's all that interested. It doesn't have a lot of stickiness. So we fold in the listing things and people are more apt to interact with us on social when it's video. So we do a lot of things like video walkthroughs of houses, videos of the house, little pop-up videos about the house, different things, and consistently and regularly. Back in the day, you used to have all the marketing for the home done in the first day or two, and you just put the sign in the yard, the marketing was done, you print new brochures every once in a while, but pretty much everything is done. Now people want fresh new content and they want it on a daily basis because our consumption level has gone up so much. So that's how we deal with that, is we consistently put out new information about your house or the same information but presented in a different way so that people have a reason to re-engage. Okay, so how do we do that? We do that through putting you out everywhere. We talked about some of the heavy hitters, Facebook and YouTube, but we're going to be absolutely everywhere so that we're engaging with people on any platform that they're on, whatever their favorite platform is. We want to be there and we want your house to be there so that they have a chance to interact with it. So that's it. We do a ton of marketing, and we want you to have as many opportunities for someone to see your house again and again and again and get all those impressions, because people don't do something on the first impression. They do it on the 15th. So we want to give them all of those impressions so that they actually pick up the phone, type their information in, click, whatever. We want them to be making an appointment to actually see your house, because once they see it, then we can start working on actually getting it sold. So once we actually have you under contract or under a listing contract, we're doing all this stuff, in the background, and you're probably wondering how you can actually access it. So several years ago now, I built this thing called a seller's portal, where it's basically your hot links. Here's where your house shows up on all the major websites. Here's where you're on all of our social. What have we done for you lately? So you just log in on our website to that, very quick and easy, and here's all your stuff. While you're listed with us, we're big believers in open houses. So we do an open house generally every 3 weeks on each property. We do them fairly geographically, and we try to make it so that if someone shows up to the wrong house, which is actually really common, they'll just see the open house signs and they'll follow it, and they'll be at a house that doesn't make any sense for them at all. That's okay. We want to be able to give them a little sheet and go, okay, so you're looking for a home with a basement. This is a slab, not a problem. Follow me over to 1234 Banana Street. I'll be there in 45 minutes. That might be a better fit for you. Or, hey, it sounds like what you really want is 567 Pineapple. And, it's not an open house this weekend, but here's our real estate book ad. Let me get your name and number, and I'll set up an appointment right here from my phone. I'll meet you over there at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. Whatever it is, we can use one open house to tell people about all of our other listings. The other thing we really like about open houses is that on all the third-party sites, so Trulia, Realtor, Zillow, Homes.com, all of those sites give you a boost once you've advertised that there's an open house, because the website's SEO works by having constantly changing information and constantly being updated. So they like seeing that something has changed on your site. Oh, their realtor says they're doing an open house. Great. We'll push them to the top of the search results. Fantastic. So I tell people that, we'd love to have a completely packed open house, but if you don't, that's okay, because I will have done usually a Facebook live tour of the house while I'm there, because it keeps me from getting bored. But it's also great exposure for your property. And you will have gotten a boost just for the ads going out that you're having an open house. So we actually find that sometimes after an unsuccessful open house where we didn't have anyone show up, which can be very unpredictable. Sometimes people don't show up because the weather's terrible and it's been lovely recently, so now it's a shock. Sometimes they don't show up because there's a football game. Sometimes they do show up because there's a football game. It doesn't seem to really have much of a rhyme or reason. But now I've lost my train of thought. Well, we do open houses. We do a lot of them. If people don't show up, we do find that the next week we get some showings because we've had the ads go out and they've come to the top of the search results. All right. So what do I mean by doing a little Facebook video? This is kind of what I mean. This is a recording of a recording, so it's not great. I tried to get the software to let me put the actual video in, but Facebook wouldn't quite let me. So it's literally just me with a cell phone going around the house, talking to the universe, telling them about the property. All right. That's enough of that. So that's it. That's what we do for you. And I hope that you've enjoyed this little presentation. I'm excited to get to know you and your property and your needs and your goals better. And I'm excited to help. Thanks so much, and I'll be in touch. Bye.